Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst live special with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you by General Joe's Reborn.com. It is Sdcc, final day, over and done with, and we are recapping not all of it, just day four. We've covered this enough now. And it's only going to be it's not going to be crazy long tonight. We're not going to be doing 2 hours, Kitty said. We're going to cover the news and then pretty much call it an evening. I hope that's cool with everybody in the chat. And yeah, we'll be getting back to your, I don't know, your regular schedule next week, which is whenever news breaks. We've actually got something set up tomorrow with Ryan Costello for the news burst. So we'll be talking, hopefully, with Ryan about Renegade Game Studios stuff and Gen Con coming up. So we'll be talking with Ryan tomorrow about that. That'll be in the evening. And we'll put out a little kind of, little bit of information during the day just to let you know when to expect that. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well in the chat. I hope everyone's had a great weekend, and I hope everyone's had a very enjoyable SDCC. Let's get stuck in then to, very little news out of today, really, but still some cool stuff to cover and talk about. And we'll do our usual update on the HasLab too. Let's do it. Yes, it's over now, and we can kind of all breathe a sigh of relief until the next anxiety-ridden situation occurs when all of the exclusives are made available for for, for people on Pulse for like 10, 20 seconds. So that's going to be the next thing we can they'll have to worry about. But yeah, I mean, all of the biggest news really was yesterday's patches. That the patches definitely is the most important thing. Anyway, yes, the marathon is over, shelf presence, and phew, my bank account survived. You said, yeah, haven't actually spent any money over SDCC weekend, which is impressive. Now, let's get stuck in then. So the major bit of news coming out of today was the announcement that PulseCon is happening on the Friday, the September the 13th of this year. So that was the main bit of information to come out of the show. We also just got very recently a post, like a kind of almost a farewell video for SDCC with Jordan Hembrough, and of course Hasbro just basically talking about the show overall and saying thank you to the fans and all that kind of stuff. But it did say on that particular post, it actually kind of, because a lot of people have been asking when are the exclusives going up, and it's basically the answer is, well, we don't know officially yet. And they've said, reminder to everyone to continue backing the G.I. Joe Classified series Cobra Rattler HasLab, and to mark your calendars for Hasbro PulseCon on September the 13th. Plus, for those wondering, yes, Hasbro Pulse convention exclusives will be available in limited quantities, mind you, on HasbroPulse.com after the event. Stay tuned to our website and social channels for updates on when these exclusive products will go live. So we will get a heads up. And then once we have that heads up, we can prepare, we can make the necessary prepared arrangements for either being sick that day. Just kidding. But yeah, so yeah, that is the situation with the exclusives. And of course, the other, like I said, the main news coming out of the show today was that the PulseCon 2024 will be will be on the 13th, Friday the 13th. Hope that bodes well for them in September. So calls. And then of course, following that, we have 1027. So that happens on October the 27th. So it's interesting. I think last year, I want to say, like when they first did PulseCon, 1027 was like the following week, or like a few days after. It was really close. And then I'm sure last year it was end of September, beginning of October, and then again a couple of weeks when we had 1027. I feel like they've spread that out a bit more now. So we've got the 13th of September. I could be wrong. I don't remember what the date was for PulseCon last year. I could look it up, really. That would have been the easiest thing to do. Here we go. PulseCon 2023 date. So yeah, September 22nd. So it's like a decent clip prior to that. It's like over a week early than what week earlier than last year, which is interesting because, like I said, it didn't feel that long between, PulseCon and 1027. Now, having said that, what was 22? Because I feel like 22 was the close one. When was that? PulseCon 2022 was 30th of September to the 1st of October. That was literally right on the end of the month, going into October. So that is an interesting one for me, with PulseCon being, like I said, over a week earlier. I suppose giving, us a bit more breathing space between the two events. Maybe, that was weird. Maybe due to the growth of Hasbro Pulse and how that is now, maybe 1027, because that is really like a collector's event sort of thing. Maybe that's been given a bit more kind of like resources, time, etc., to be a bigger event than it has been. So that's probably interesting actually as well to think about. Now those 3 patches will end up paying for most of a Rattler wing. Yeah, totally shelf presence. Stay prepared, cheese bags. Yes, Blitz 0065. That's what we have to be. We have to stay frosty, in actual fact. As always, I'm going to be on high alert till I hear when once a man Coco hits Pulse, says Bryce. Yeah, it's going to be. A few people are saying August the 5th based on other like exclusives. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns up this week. I wouldn't be surprised, but also I would also, I also wouldn't be surprised if it turns up on the 5th of August as well, or going on to the next week. But we'll see. We'll see. Hello, Travis. He says, I was just listening to your day two coverage as a prep for our show tonight. Thanks again for sharing the interview, Chris. You rock. Thank you for the interview, mate. It was amazing. Really enjoyed that with Lenny and Tony. It was a lot of fun. And classified overkill confirmed basically in 3 years' time. If Lenny and his dream projects precedent is anything to go by, I'm looking at you, Road Pig and Raucous. PulseCon has also shrunk to 1 day instead of a weekend. That's true, actually, Scott. So there's me saying maybe it's grown, maybe it's got bigger, but no, or maybe they're just giving us the date for when it's kicking off. But yeah, I don't think 1027. No, sorry, PulseCon. No, yeah, of course. So I was getting confused with 1027 and PulseCon. I only just realised that maybe it was just the opening day that they were talking about, or maybe they have minimised it to 1 day. I can't remember what they said. Let me just quickly have a look to see what the blurb exactly says. I might have just missed it. Yeah, I mean, it just says mark your calendars for Friday, the September the 13th. So it could be the 13th and the 14th. But maybe, it doesn't necessarily mean they've done that, but there's a possibility there. And that's a good point. I'll have to ask about that one and see if there is anything in that. But maybe it's down to the fact that in the past they had like more brands involved for releasing product. Excuse me, and of course, like maybe shifting Power Rangers, and I'm trying to think of maybe like a ghost. Are they going to be revealing Ghostbuster stuff? I want to say that is happening. Am I right in thinking that? Did I hear that on the last big live event they had, where they said something along the lines of, where Emily revealed the Ghostbusters for like 3 3/4 inch O-ring figures? Wasn't there like a thing where they said that they're also going to be doing more, other Ghostbusters stuff? Ghostbusters HasLab will be around that time. Okay, Scott, cool. So yeah, they're definitely in Ghostbusters. I'm trying to think if they're not lost, but not pushing many brands at the moment. That said, I do think it's doable in a day, but I do like the weekend aspect of it. How many was it? Was it 2 days last time? Because I mean, the thing is, if I'm perfectly honest, I watched for the GI Joe stuff, like religiously. I do watch the show. It's on in the background for most of the time for everything else, but I'm not paying attention really. I'm not really, I do kind of like, it's there in the background, but I'm not necessarily. And it's every now and again there'll be like I don't know, something that like a brand I'm not really that kind of au fait with. I mean, like Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons, and they'll kind of be covering something along those lines, and there'll be like a long interview with somebody, and I'll kind of like zone out a little bit, but then all of a sudden they'll be like, and here are the figures, and I'll be like, ding again, like so. Yeah, it's an interesting one, but with and obviously the other thing around it is the fact that as soon as the GI Joe stuff's done, I feel like I'm like getting right on it. And in the past, they even had a preview event to it, didn't they? Because I remember Thew doing the preview to PulseCon, and then we had a weekend's worth of blooming. It was like the Thursday, wasn't it? Thursday preview thing, and then I want to say it was on Friday and Saturday. I can't remember exactly, but yeah. Either way, interesting point to make, Scott. And I must admit, I wasn't thinking that when I noticed that they've only said 1 day, and it's very likely it will just be 1 day. Yeah. Um, Todd C said, my friend told me there were plenty of Coco and Death's Head at the Hasbro booth today. I feel confident about my chances on August 5th. Yes, Todd. I think it's weird. I think I would have expected actually that to just be like, sell through convincingly at the show. And it has given me a bit more confidence hearing that, honestly. I still think though, whatever they put up on PulseCon is going to be gone. I think a lot of the sell through as well is the fact that people in the past have sort of had access if they've been outside the show. They've had to like incorporate things over the years to make it more difficult for people outside of the show to access them. I remember the Dr. Mindbender link going out, and everyone got one, so it sold out like every day pretty much. They haven't announced August 5th yet, Von Hayes, but but that's the kind of like expectation based on other exclusives going out now. As I mentioned earlier on, it could be this week that it goes up, but they'll tell us beforehand. They're not going to just drop it. They'll mention on the socials when it's going up, and we'll hopefully have a heads up going into that. Okay. Yeah. Scott said, remember last year they sold on-hand stock and in-hand stock and then did pre-orders. Yes, absolutely. And you're right, Justin. Mindbender wasn't available at the show, but they were restricting it to people at the show, was my point. They were restricting the code for people at the show, but people were sharing the code, and they didn't. As soon as they realized that could be done, they were like, "Oh yeah, that's a kink in the that's a problem there." So yeah, they had to deal with that. We'll be talking about that in a second, Kick Toy. So don't worry, I will get to Nemesis in a second. So yes, now with PulseCon, of course, just around the corner. We're not even in August yet, McLeod. I don't know. It's a decent amount of time away, so there might be a little drop in between there. I could see something happening, like maybe even Nemesis Immortal. But before we get to that, Starduster is going to be the PulseCon exclusive, as we know, and as they've told us. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think he came out really nice. I love the fact they gave him a different head sculpt, and the gloves are a nice addition as well, to just to differentiate it enough from Duke. Obviously, most of the rest of the body is Duke: legs, shoulders, knees, and toes. So the most, yeah, and also secondaries and the jetpack. Does Retro Duke come with the jetpack? I haven't, I feel bad for not opening that yet, and I can't remember if he does or not. I feel like he should. Come here. Come here. Ouch. No, he just comes with a backpack, doesn't he? Yeah. So no jetpack, obviously, for Retro Duke, but obviously that pack has come with like lots of other figures. So it's still reuse, obviously. But yes, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just really stoked about this one. I love the fact they gave him a little cereal box. That's really adorable as well. Anyway. Yes. So I don't think we're going to have well, famous last words. I don't think it's going to be that difficult getting Cobra Commander in the coming week or weeks. Um, and we'll just have to kind of wait and see on that one. It, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I just pressed my. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Now it was my space bar I pressed, but thankfully it's not connected. Um, yes, backpack, no jetpack. Yes, never had a Starduster. This is a must. Yep. Um, yeah. Anyway, so can't wait for that, and I love the box that he comes in as well. It's so cool. Yeah, looking forward to Starduster. Now, Nemesis Immortal. They did say on the previous live event, where I think this was the Stinger unboxing, wasn't it? I want to say when this was pulled out as a look what we've got to show you. They did mention that more information would be coming SDCC, and it didn't. So I wonder if we're going to see this between SDCC and PulseCon, or if we're going to see this released pre-order wise for PulseCon, because that would make sense. Poster Trout, thank you so much for the super chat. Great job on the last 3 days of SDCC review, Chris. Full force. Got to drop, so I will watch the rest of the stream later. Well, thank you very much. That's very much appreciated, and have a great rest of your evening. And I will see you later in a weird way, but on this format. Isn't that odd? But thank you very much, Poster Trout. We very much appreciate that. Kevin says, Lenny said the wings are over 14 inches long. We've got what is it, a leaked first shot, I think, of the wings, which have got a ruler next to them, and I believe the exact measurements are on that particular image. Let me just have a quick look, because I do have that somewhere. I mean, it's on our socials. Us on our socials at it. Let's see if I can quickly ascertain the exact size, because there's been so much talk of wings lately. Yeah, easily 14 inches. There's been so much talk of wings lately with Raptor and Nemesis Immortal and the Claw, that, when people start talking about these things, you're not quite sure sometimes, or you're catching little bits and pieces here, there, and everywhere. You're not sure what they're talking about, and you might get confused and think, oh yeah, but no, you're right. Easily 14 inches, because there's like a 12-inch rule underneath the image. And yes, grown-up kiddos just sent me the closing out video for SDCC. Yes, I shared that a little while ago. Thank you very much, though. Much appreciated. Yeah, so I'm very excited to get more information about this particular figure. I would imagine it will just be going up around PulseCon or 1027 is my guess here. Now, I could see PulseCon being a good place to drop this one. Of course, we'll have, Starduster to get hold of. Nemesis Immortal, the listing, actually, I think, am I right in thinking the listings came around about the same time? We usually get listings in the period of time in which they're going to be released. So we'll get listings sent to us from all sorts of places. And with those listings, you can kind of ascertain sometimes where the release of them is going to be, or at least the grouping of products. So in this case, it could very well be, either PulseCon or 1027, but it's going to be soon, because it's there and finished and done. So so very excited to see that. And like I said, we don't know, but as soon as we do find out any more information, if any other little info kind of sneaks out, we'll either be reporting on it on leaks, or we will have to keep our mouths shut, depending on what happens or when it comes out or how it comes out. But like I said, we will keep you informed. If we are the only source of news you ever look at, which would be crazy, I don't expect that to be the case. And I'm sure you have multiple places that you guys go for G.I. Joe information, which is, again, totally cool. There's plenty of great places out there to get that information as well. Okay, so that's your Nemesis Immortal. Now, Cobra Commander, like I said, will be going up very soon. We've kind of already covered this. I just probably should have had the image up earlier, so that when you guys asked me, we'd have talked about it. But yes, I'm still expecting maybe this week, but also the 5th of August is totally fine. But how good is this figure? Do you know what really blew me away about this? It was seeing Toy Kind of Mood, Travis's review video on this one. And I didn't realize how cool the cover was. I just thought it was going to be like lenticular, but not like, more just like fancy, like looking and feeling. And, I know lenticular, that's what they are. They're kind of like, almost like image changing and stuff like that. But the fact that when you twist it and turn it, you get different versions of Cobra Commander appear. I mean, it's proper 80s. It is absolutely next level. I used to love the like the little cards or the little kind of like merchandise you get back in the day that all had lenticular items, like lenticular stickers. Absolutely adored the lenticular stickers that were on, like, the Battle Android Trooper and Lightfoot, and you name it. There's a bunch. Maybe they're the only two. No, I'm kidding. But I loved those, and I know they weren't like, they were lenticular in that they looked a little bit 3D-ish. But in terms of this lenticular aspect, you have effectively got 3 different images, and depending on where you view it from, what angle, that's what you see. And it's like Cobra Commander with his helmet on. It's Cobra Commander like fully almost turned, like basically the Snake Man, and then it's like the almost complete Snake version. It's so good, so good. I can't wait to have that in my hand and just look at that for hours. It's going to be phenomenal. This also made me want to do like almost like a retrospective of the exclusives that have come out since day one of the line. Maybe that could be an episode where we look at all of the different fancy exclusives that dropped since Snake Eyes 00, Snake Supreme, Zartan Master of Disguise, Dr. Mindbender Serpentor, this one, of course, Chuckles, just all of those different releases. And basically go through again and look at those kind of like gimmicks and ideas that they threw into the packaging and all that kind of stuff, because I think that would be really fun. Like almost like do like a top, like, rank them basically would be kind of fun. Like which one's the work, like which one's the least amazing in this case, because I think they're all pretty rock, honestly. And I think maybe this one might be top of the charts, but you'll have no spoilers, so you'll have to tune in to find out on that one. But I think that'd be a cool little video to have a good look at, because then we get like a retrospective of all those exclusives that we've had in the past. They hinted at a Serpentor in an interview today. They know he is in demand. Eventually we'll get another. Yes, Gavin, very, very likely. Yeah, cool. All right then. Also, we'll be looking. It looks like we'll be having an interview with Emily, Lenny, and Tony when they return from SDCC, and when they've had a little bit of time to get settled and sorted out again. We should be having a nice little kind of like post SDCC, post Yojo June sort of like little chat. So that'll be fun. And yeah, hopefully we can get that done. Right. And I've got a lot of questions for them, genuinely lots. Probably won't be able to fit it all in, but I'll do my best. We'll also aim to do the same after PulseCon and then after 1027. So hopefully we can get a lot of interviews going with that crew for the rest of the year, like at least 3. I think 3 is the minimum we should be expecting from them on the show. Anyway, don't worry about the once a man on eBay's, guys. Don't worry about it, please. Just wait till after, at least wait till after, because I don't think it's going to be that difficult. He says, there's a boast. We'll see. Talk about a ceiling mount for Rattler with them. I will, but I think it might be a bit too, well, yeah, it might be a bit too late now. But because as soon as it funds, doesn't it go to tooling? I'm pretty sure. Not all the figures, but certainly the actual vehicle, because that takes a while to get sorted out, doesn't it? I'm sure that's like ready to go for switching on. Anyway, don't fall for the FOMO. Stay vigilant. Exactly, Todd. Exactly. His famous last words, Bestow. I know, but it's up to you. If you want to go nuts on eBay for one, that's totally up to you. But I'm not going to do that. Not that it makes any difference. It's not like there's no skin off your nose. I'm not going to be doing that. Right, so that's Cobra Commander, yada yada yada. Now on to the HasLab Rattler, the hot ticket item at the moment, funded in under 24 hours, and unlocked the first tier, the most important tier, probably the tier that I think everyone cared about, and they're probably not going to bother with the rest of them because it's like, what do we need figures? Just kidding. Yes, the patches are unlocked. Ting! I should have had a little sound effect there, shouldn't I, for like a ding as it came up, but I didn't. And as you can see, they have definitely changed the badge around. Justin, thank you for the super chat. That's very, very kind of you. Justin says, for always bringing the Joe news and cranking it to 11 full force. You're welcome, mate. Literally, yesterday, I think I did crank it to 11, didn't I? Literally in the evening. But thank you so much. We really appreciate the kind, the very kind gesture, the super chat. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Wish one person would have mentioned adding a USB port in the Rattler. All those Q&A people at the show, not one person asked in person. A USB port? I'm so confused, Suka. I'm so confused. What for? I'm being an idiot. I know here. I know I'm just being like a live dumbass, right? But if you could elaborate a little bit on that, because I don't know why. Anyway, hi Diana. Yes, I like the patches too. I think they're really cool. But I don't know. I will say, oh, to power the lights. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Rather than batteries. Sorry. Right. That makes. Do you know what I was thinking? I was like, hell do you want to download to a Rattler? I'm an idiot. No, I see what you're saying. I get it now, guys. I get it. You don't all have to say it. It's charging, mate. It's charging. No, that's actually a really good point. And yeah, although how that might be awkward unless you were near. Okay, like stay with me on this one. It's a good idea, but when you come to charge the feckin' thing, you'd have to like find a USB port that was accessible near, like, fairly close to the wall, because your USBs aren't usually like that crazy long, and if they are, then you might be able to get away with it, plugging it from your display to something if you've got a really long cable. But yeah, like that would be so. Just imagine it. Like I'm just thinking about it in my particular situation here. The nearest plug is actually right next to my display socket, right next to the display. So I could probably get away with a fairly long ESB port plug thing, right? But I was just thinking, if I didn't have that, because it is a bit of a guerrilla warfare situation on the wall over there, I would have to have it somewhere near the next port, which I think is upstairs in the living room. I mean, nearest me. Do you know what I mean? And just like have it like on the floor, taking up tons of space for the time it takes to charge up. Or yeah, have the battery pack come out that you could charge. That would make a lot more sense. I'm just the hilarious image though fell into my head immediately when you guys were saying charging, of it being close to the wall, like plugged into like a really short USB cord. Anyway, just joking aside, that's actually a really good idea, and I'm sure it was down to cost. I'm sure it was costing. I'm sure just having batteries and a battery pack inside is cheaper than having the alternative. But yeah, I think it's a great idea. It's beyond time to have USB port versus batteries nowadays. Yes, Sean, absolutely. I like the first badge better. So did I. It's that one, Zombie K LR13. On the left hand side, the Semper Fidelis Serpens one. I believe they had to remove that. I'm gonna get I'll get the down low, but I'm glad that we've got the receipts on this one, because I'm glad we got that image locked in. Obviously now it's this. And what's funny is you can see that this is a Photoshop job as well. Like it's just clearly, you can see. But even so, it's a sexy patch to have, and it mimics the one I think that's on Wild Weasel, right? Does Wild Weasel have that one? One of them has that, I think. Obviously the Rattler has it. Von Hayes says, I like the patches, and now I wish patches came with all of them. Oh, God, actually, that would be freaking awesome, wouldn't it? Imagine if we'd got Wolf Spider with his patch. Imagine if we got one of the night, like Big Ben with the Night Force patch, right? Tunnel Rat with the rat patch. You know, every one of them that comes with an interesting tampo comes with a patch. Imagine how awesome that would be. See, that's where now all I want is patches. I don't want a collection of classified figures. I just want a collection of classified patches, right? Who's with me? Nobody. Crickets. It needs Windows MEOS, of course. Yes, it does. Just make it an option DAC collector. Yeah, totally. I think it's costing though, is what I'm saying. I think it's probably costed, and that's probably what you'll hear when I ask them that question as well. Scott says, I'm nonplussed about the patches. It's just a thing we're getting after it fully funds because it will fully fund. That's another thing. The way it's moving, you know, hips don't lie. You know that we're going to get that Gunner and Baroness. I can't see a universe where the Baroness does not pull in enough people to fund that genuinely. The patches are probably so more money could go to. Yeah, it was effectively, yes, Diana. So it was costing situation. Based on the balance between keeping the cost of the overall Rattler down, or the campaign at least, keeping the campaign down, and another figure obviously would raise that price. Patches get stitches, absolutely. Self-defeating, but USB to USB battery pack. Yes, totally. Who doesn't have a drawer full of USB cables? Let's be real, we're all adults here. Totally. It was just I thought it was funny that most of the USB cables I have are really short. They're all like, they all kind of connect to like hard drives or stuff like that. So it's like they're always like about that long, and it just made me laugh thinking about having the Rattler lean up against the wall, plugged into the socket. I know obviously you can get longer cords, of course you can. It was really just the funny thought that popped into my head when you guys said charging. They can't put in a chargeable battery system due to shipping. Oh, Chris, that's a good point, actually. Do you know what? It's funny that, because I'm sort of in shipping in a sense, and I deal with that on a daily basis and should have known better. Should have known better. You have to ship it differently with lithium ion and stuff like that, don't you? Have to yeah, it kind of creates another issue and probably another fee usually as well. I have my ramen racer with USBs. It's easier than you think, Chris, and I will be using the Amazon battery replacement. Totally. No, I was just kidding. I was just joking. I just like I said, it was one of those things that made me laugh thinking about, you know, having the massive Rattler stuck up against a wall somewhere. Would people be okay at 350 with a fourth figure with zero new tooling, just all reuse? That's a good point. I don't think it would be worth it for for that? I don't know. I think I'm happier spending a little bit less and get I still feel like looking at what you get if it all funds together. I don't feel like I'm being cheated out of anything. I feel like it's, you know, a hell of a lot of stuff and a massive friggin' vehicle, like an absolutely gargantuan vehicle. Like I think this is going to be the one that tests whether they can do it big. And I think if this is successful, which it already sort of is, but if this is like success in general across the board and everyone's happy with it after the fact in hand, what have you, then I don't know. I feel like they might push it even further, and we might get, you know, your Sky Strikers and your Night Ravens and your Rolling Thunders. Amazing. Will we get a figure called Patches now if we get a new tier? What would this Patches figure look like? Oh my god, that's genius. He'd be called Patch Adams, and he'd have Robin Williams head sculpt. Rest in peace. Rechargeable batteries, no in shipping due to fire risk. I don't mind the patches. I would have preferred a full back jacket patch. Ooh, I like that one. In Inunison. Sorry if I'm getting your name completely wrong. But I like that idea of a giant back jacket patch. That'd be crazy cool. I genuinely, I'm getting into. I would love. I do like patches. I have quite a few patches actually. And I'm not. This is not one of those things where I'm like quietly like, I'm glad they're doing patches because I can add to my patch collection. But if you've ever gone to the United States Air Force Museum in Ohio, right, Patterson Air Force Base, you would understand why I collect patches, because my God, they've got some cool ones there. Just wherever I used to go, and if ever there was a patch to be had, I used to be like a bit of a like I used to have this little thing, right? Wherever we'd go, whatever kind of like, new place or new country or city or whatever, if I saw a little patch there that related to that place, and usually it was military related, then I would grab it. And I got a few little cool patches. And I used to get them for dad as well. So I used to pick up ones for dad, as like a little present. I remember getting him one from the Air Force Museum, actually, which mum and dad had been to the Air Force Museum with us, which was really cool. That was a great experience to take both of them to that Air Force Museum. It was so much fun. It was just great going around and looking at all. It was brilliant. But yeah, in any case, patches. Man, it's funny how I would say about 6 hours of content has gone towards patches over the last 3 or 4 days. Anyway, sorry, lots of comments. I'm not gonna be able to get to all of them. Sorry, guys. My God, I've missed loads. How did that happen? Suka says, honestly, I think the base offering was worth the price asked for. So all these tiers, in this case only, feel more like bonuses to me, even though I know it's all baked in. So you're using Lenny's terminology there. I like that. Oh, could you imagine? I don't think they'll do patches again, actually. Brian says, thanks so much for all this coverage. You're the best. Brian, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. It's funny, those comments I'll read out when everyone's like, I notice you read comments where people like say really nice things about you, but you won't read my comment out. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I try to read everything, and I'm not ignoring anyone on purpose. I hope people realize that, unless obviously it is nasty, racist, misogynistic, sexist, etc., etc. If it's offensive, I'm not going to read it out. If it's but like most of the comments, if you want to have a conversation and a good conversation, discussion about something, that's also fine as well. I will ignore some things, of course I will, or just block them or remove them. But like in the case of Naked HD, for example. I honestly think the tiers should just be base offerings, and there you go. These items without the gunner is a terrible idea. Kicktoy, I know what you're saying, but I think it's done in a certain like, okay. It's cynical to say, but they do it like this for a reason. They do it to get as much as possible. They do it to have the ability to cover all bases and the rest, because they're all about making money at the end of the day. That's what Hasbro are basically about as a corporation. The brand team work within some of those restraints and restrictions to do as best as they can for the fans. That's how I kind of look at it. Do you know what I mean? So they kind of work as much magic as they possibly can, knowing that obviously some things aren't possible because there are budget restrictions and costing and all that kind of good stuff. So, because they are, at the end of the day, they're after the most money as possible. And with these crowdfunders, stretch goals are kind of incorporated to get as much as possible to cover even more. I think the base offering alone would fund a decent amount, but I think doing it the way they do it and spreading out those tiers, it forces people who might not have been necessarily, might have been on the fence or whatever, or just kind of like holding back a little. It might force them over to the dark side. Join us. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I would love that too. I'd love it if everything was just in the base offering and it's funded now and we're all like, brilliant. And then if people want to jump on in the next 45 days, they can. Yeah, the tier should be a jacket, a full-on Maverick Top Gun style jacket with all the patches on it. Yes, absolutely. In fact, that would be kind of a cool one to do, wouldn't it? Like an Ace sort of like Ace, like not in his pilot uniform, but in a kind of Tom Cruise sort of bomber jacket, shades, motorcycle. That would be a cool release for Ace, wouldn't it? I think that'd be really cool, kind of like an homage to Tom Cruise Maverick, but obviously it's Ace, but in like chill gear, and the patches on his jacket could be like, well, not these because they're Cobra ones, but you know what I'm saying. You'd be a still core one on there for a start, wouldn't there? But like, how much fun would that be? And you could maybe put like the patches on the jacket could be like very specific homages to the brand. You know, like I think that'd be so cool. Like the obviously you'd have the Sky Striker like emblem that's on the tail fin. You'd have that like the sun and the eagle. That would be freaking amazing, wouldn't it? Um, anyway, yes, yeah. But yeah, I think that'd be a really cool idea, and I would love that for like an ace figure. Like if we're not going to get like a pilot necessarily anytime soon, it'd be cool to have a figure like that, and he could come with a motorcycle. I think that would be dope actually, and it'd be such an awesome little call out to Maverick, but obviously be specific for GI Joe. Um, I think they should put Destro in his communication headset as a bonus tier. You never know, actually. Let's let's hold fire a little bit here. There's a long time. There's a long way to go. And also, I'm not saying that I know anything here because I don't. But you never know. They could do a retro Cobra Commander job on us, couldn't they? They could drop in a cheeky like extra right at the end because they've got like tons of blooming uh, you know backers already. You never know. It could be a possibility just to push it even further into the stratosphere. But I'm just, yeah, I don't know if that is going to happen. It probably won't because obviously I think a lot of people thought that about the Dragonfly. But can we go back a bit? And like last year, people complaining wanting another figure after Crazy Legs was revealed. And at the time, I'm like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. But people are like, no, they'll do it. They ain't going to do that. Like there was a lot of figures with a Dragonfly, a lot of bloody good ones as well. Actually, may I add? And I think, yeah, I think it might be a stretch too far, but who knows? You never know. They could change tack completely. People get turned off with the 350 mark. Absolutely, Eben. I'm sure they do. I'm sure if it had been 350, that would have been the talking point, would it not? That would have been the talking point. Anyway, cool. Sorry, I have to move on. I'm sorry, guys, but it's been fun talking patches this entire time. One more. Does this mean we're getting a Mauler next year? I don't know. I'm just going to say yes. We can start that rumor mill gravy train all the way to next year now, can't we? And we can ride it all the way to Sdcc again, or well, whenever they reveal it. It does feel like Sdcc is a good time to reveal a HasLab. But I will put one thing out there. There was a lot of disorganization early on that I was a little like it was a bit confusing. You know, the fact that we had that live stream at 11 that never happened and was obviously supposed to be the video for the HasLab, or was supposed to be the video for the panel, like the pre-recorded one. But they made a mistake and gave an incorrect time or something. I don't know what that was about. I will ask that question and see if there's a reason behind it. So because of, effectively we had two panels at once, which I didn't like, because even though they weren't streaming it officially, they must have known that people were streaming it, like the live one. So I'm kind of a bit confused as to why it wasn't like why don't you just stream the panel? Just stream the panel. Cut out the middleman. Do you know what I mean? Like do like a professional record, like a live stream recording where you put up the images like live rather than look at the blooming, the screen. Surely that would like that would make sense. Yeah, Phil, they didn't like you live streaming it. I know, but thank you for doing so. And I'm glad you did because I was watching it. I was watching along. But that's the thing. I really didn't like having to watch a live stream and try and get the information from it in one ear whilst watching another stream of a panel on my phone, also doing the same thing. But knowing that the panel on my phone or the video that they put out was going to be quicker. And so I was trying to get all the images together and take screenshots and all that kind of stuff while watching, like doing two. It was an absolute pain. So I feel like just live stream the panel. I guess it's like that thing of because they want to I think because they want to secure the kind of exclusivity for the people that are there at the show. I get that. and it might be one of those things where if they live streamed it, people wouldn't care or wouldn't go or wouldn't be. But that's crazy because they had to turn hundreds of people away. Apparently, the room wasn't big enough, and they literally had to turn loads of people away for the classified panel. So yeah, I don't know. Just it. I feel like I don't. It's like that whole thing. If this is gonna like fall short with a lot of you because obviously I know I'm originally UK based. I know a lot of you aren't, but there's been the whole thing for years where on a Saturday, none of the Premier League football, none of the football league matches are shown on live TV in the UK because there's a called a 3 p.m. blackout to allow um, kind of like to give that opportunity for people to go and watch matches live at stadiums. And it's been that way for years. It's not even the reason, I don't think. There's another reason for it as well, and I can't remember what it was. But effectively, it was that was it. It wasn't necessarily to make people go to the matches. It was to make people go to other local matches. So you may support like a team in Manchester like I do, right? But you might live in Norwich like I used to. And if I couldn't go and see Manchester United play because that'd been like a 3.5 hour drive there and back, then it would be the case maybe I'd just pop over and watch the Norwich game on a Saturday. But it just doesn't really work like that anymore. They're trying to like help the football pyramid and all this kind of stuff, but it was like never really a thing. So it kind of feels like something along those lines where that's still in effect, that 3 p.m. blackout. So you can't watch football matches on a Saturday in England at 3. You have to go and watch them live or watch a cheeky stream or something. So yeah, that's kind of a similar thing with the SDCC thing, not streaming it because they want people to go and watch it. But then again, at the same time, I do get that they might want to keep it exclusive to the people that are there. It's like you've made the effort, that you've paid the money, you've gone the distance to be there. You've committed all that. You should at least get this information first, I guess. But either way, it's kind of interesting, and I just didn't like the fact they dropped the video like at the same time. Like at least drop the video after the panel. That makes way more sense. Do you know what I mean? Like drop the video after the panel. I know they did it like what 15 minutes in. But yeah, I would have said, yeah, let's do that later. Anyway, it felt a little bit disjointed and a little bit kind of confusing. And honestly, I was just so anxious to get everything ready and prepared and images up so that I could do a live stream that I don't really necessarily enjoy the kind of moment, being in the moment, and I don't have that kind of opportunity to react with other people, like in message groups or on Facebook pet groups or pages or whatever, or if you're in like if you're with people when you're watching it on like YouTube or something. I don't have that enjoyment that I would like because it's always about, okay, I've got to take a ton of pictures, I've got to get those images up on a slideshow, I've got to do the Photoshop graphic for the the thing, and then I've got to set up the stream, which includes like getting links from all the different places, like the pre-orders and the articles that are related and all that kind of stuff, and stick them in the thing, and then get that set up, and then get lined up, and then go live. It's just an absolute ball ache. So it's not that I enjoy it after the fact always, but like during in the moment, not fun. Anyway, patches, get in you. Obviously, the next unlock is the Cobra Rattler gunner, and of course, joking aside, this is where it starts to get a bit tighter in the pants, isn't it? Basically, so Cobra Rattler gunner, we've got 2 different visages with the red mask on. I love that kind of callback almost to the Hall of Fame Cobra Commander kind of vibe. I know that's not the case, but it just always reminds me of that when I was a kid and thinking, oh, you're going to see his face, and then no, you don't. Because I'm not sure who remembers this. I've talked about it before in the past, but the the Inspector Gadget toy line revealed the face of the Claw in the toy line. So no one had ever seen the Claw before. Did not expect him to look the way he did when the toy revealed it. And the figure on card even has a sticker over the face on the bubble, so you can't actually see it unless you open it. And that is the kind of vibes that I was working with when Hall of Fame Cobra Commander came out. And I just remember thinking, oh, you're going to be able to see his face under there. No, you are not. It's funny that the version 4 Cobra Commander, if you give it enough oomph, you can take that red visor or the red mask off. And obviously his face is under there, isn't it? But it's hilarious. Almost as hilarious as Serpentor's head when you take his helmet off as well. When you rip his snake helmet off. Ouch, Kitty said. It looks great because he's got like no chin and no like top of his head. It's brilliant. They do that here with the Blue Jays in Ontario. I live 4 hours away. Watching on TV is the only way I can follow the team. Yes, Charles, I didn't realize it was a similar thing for US sports, based on the fact that anywhere I go, there is always about 50 TV screens showing every single sporting event known to man at that moment in time. So I'm surprised that, yeah, there's a time that they don't show any one game of anything. Bestow says, in a way, it doesn't make sense though, because a week or two before or after the convention, they're constantly making announcements, so nothing is really exclusive to that particular show. Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, the figure exclusive to a degree is a bit locked into someone going now anyway. And the kind of like going to watch the big events and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there was a pretty big one for the MCU. Did you see the Doctor Doom news? I'm a huge Doctor Doom fan, and I've always loved the design of that character. I really enjoyed that Marvel Legends figure from back in the day. And the one they did in the white as well was really cool. I love both of those. Back when they were doing those hexagonal connective like figure stand things. Do you remember those? They were weird, and also got to the point where like I wasn't a fan of them. It just felt like I was stacking them up. They should have figures that you can only order if you were a backer for extra money. That would be a bigger incentive, possibly, but that would also, again, boil a lot of urine, wouldn't it? I think the figure dope with green goggles and turret. Yes, totally, Detective Dirty. I've got an image of that, I think, down here somewhere. Philip says the Dr. Claw figure looked like an angry Colonel Sanders. I've never really thought about that before, but he does. He does. And like not just angry, but just got out of bed, did his hair the day before, and obviously moving around in bed has gone all over the place. It looks all spiky and weird. And also grey, and he's also white. I never expected that. When you listen to the voice of the Claw in the Inspector Gadget series, you have an idea of what that person looks like. I did not see that particular action figure. It goes like literally Google it. It's hilarious. In fact, I can do it so you don't have to. You might already know what I'm talking about, in which case you'll just have to be patient with me while I search for Inspector Gadget Claw action figure. There he is. I'm actually going to show you the card first because that's the fun part. So you see it says reveal. What does it say? Reveal the mysterious Dr. Claw on the sticker right there. And as you can see, the figure is kind of completely covered up. You can't see. All you can see are obviously the hands. And then this is what you get. It's like if Sloth from the Goonies and Colonel Sanders got together in it. It's incredible. Anyway, fun toy line, but I was not expecting that as Dr. Claw, and now you don't have to either. Diana, you mentioned yes that Hakes are putting up the Raptor and Big Boa original artwork for auction. Good timing that. I wonder why they've done that. So there's the Raptor artwork, the original. It's so gorgeous, that, isn't it? And I have to scroll. I can't just move my phone up in the air. And Big Boa as well. So the original artwork is going up on Hakes' auction site if you're interested. My God, the estimates are pretty high. 10 to 20,000. Well, actually, that's kind of expected in a way. I guess. Obviously, Big Boa is not exactly like topical. I mean, he's been out recently. I've got him in hand. If I have the figure, it's usually one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's not that new. But obviously Raptor is, and it's cool that they've got that going. Anyway, swinging back and taking off that crazy tangent back to the Cobra Rattler gunner. He does come with some weapons as well, some pistols, and of course the rifle and all. And of course that helmet is sweet, but we did just talk about that. 14,000 backers or orders, sorry, it's orders now, isn't it? Not backers. So 14,000 orders, that one will be unlocked. Now, where are we currently? It's probably a good idea to have a look, isn't it? Otherwise, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What am I doing here? What is my motivation? 11,000. No. Yes, 11,000. I can count. 11,466. So it's 466. Well, that's his backers. Man. Like, pick a lane, guys. Is it backers? Is it orders? And they're not the same thing, because backers can order more than one order. They can have 5, can't they? And that doesn't count for one. That I'm aware. I'm pretty sure it's orders, isn't it? That they've said in the past. Have I completely misremembered that? It doesn't matter, really. They're going to be unlocked, and at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter. Do the goggles and the helmet slide back? I believe they do. Yes. It's the same helmet that is it the same helmet as Road Cord as Ripcord? I think it is. I'd have to have a look again on that one. I'm sure they're reusing the same helmet. They can't be doing multiple like flight helmets. That's just insanity. Someone let me know in the comments, please. It's orders, but it's units backed. Okay, but it says here backers on the thing, so I think it's just like a carryover from what they kind of utilized terminology in the past. In any case, all I'm saying is that they've got 2 different bits of terminology going on, and it's annoying. So yes, 466 of course since yesterday, which is not bad for what you'd expect to be the lull at this point, wouldn't you? But it's still going and it's still moving, so that's pretty good. Have I logged off yet this weekend? No, Flaffle, I have not. I haven't. Any coincidence Lenny was wearing a fridge lanyard this weekend and they showed what looked like bear's feet at the end of the panel? Could the fridge be coming? I mean, it's you're definitely. I mean, there's definitely there clues that anybody that the things you said, no one's going to argue with what you just said. I think there's a lot of possibilities that could relate to that 100%. Do I think they're going to do the fridge with a massive bear? That would be freaking amazing. I'd be all over that. And what a great way to do the fridge as well. Like to bring the fridge into it, like to have him with a giant bear. Like that would be freaking amazing. But I have to say, I don't think we're going to get that. As amazing as that sounds. Yeah, Slaughter also talked about the fridge in his interview. You're absolutely correct, Scott, with Jordan Hembrough. It was almost brought up because the Sarge was trying to say he's not. There is another guy in there. But yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I will say I don't think that's going to happen personally. But I think the bear's feet, whatever feet they are, they're pretty much bear looking though. I think you're probably going to get some sort of animal with that one. Quinn and a polar bear is a good shout, Jeffrey. I think someone said snake eyes and a polar bear. That makes sense too. I mean, this is why they do it. They put this stuff out there so that we go nuts with the ideas. So I don't know. You could use Road Pig's buck for the fridge, really, couldn't you? But was he tall? I feel like he was pretty well. Then again, Road Pig is tall as well. So yeah, I think the fridge actually would work really well on the buck of Road Pig. Absolutely. But the other thing you've got to take into consideration is he ain't going to be naked. So maybe you'd have to do, like some element. There's going to have to be some still going to have to be some sculpting done, is what I'm saying. Someone thinks, hi, it's me, says Polar Battle Bear from the Hint with Bear Pilot. With a bear pilot. That's amazing. It was quite a funny thing. I did think, have they just zoomed into the tampo of a bear on the side of a battle bear or something? That would be quite funny. And what a bait and twist as well. Fatal Fluffies is a good shout, but Derek, their feet don't look like that. Fatal Fluffies have, when they're in their like monster mode, have the weirdest, like, kind of like, you might understand when I said like a UK rave scene, kind of like boot that travels down in like a triangular kind of way. It's really weird. Um, I've been doing a lot. Yeah, I should be doing this on the thing so you can actually see it on the screen, but whatever, whatever. Yeah, they've got kind of like weird little like the little kind of like those, and then I mean, nothing like what we've just seen on screen, like little kind of like hooves almost, but then like these big kind of fluffy rave boots. So yeah, and even the little fluffies just have like little pink trotters. So yeah, look at the little pink trotters on the Fatal Fluffy. Look at their like little hands, aren't they sweet? Anyway, that's enough of that talk. And I know that was on the Battlegrounds image and not like the animation model, but the animation model has got little cheeky pink trotters as well. Right. Yes, they have hooves. Hooves. May hooves. Maybe it's tied into Wild Blue Monkey. Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't go too deep into that. I mean, they're probably just a silly name for something they've got coming in the line, but maybe Wild Blue Monkey is the Rattler. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's yeah, it's basically something Destro says in his kind of like blurb in the copy, isn't it? But I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, Gunner, he looks good, looking cool. There's a great shot of him in the Gunner station, kind of getting in or getting out, one of the two. But he looks awesome with the helmet on and the visor down. There he is with the helmet off, out of the vehicle. And here's the other head sculpt, or the other skin tone head on there with the weapon. Nice. They look good. And then, of course, at 18,000 orders / backers, we have a La Baroness, which is French for the Baroness. So, yeah, this this is a great figure. New build, new figure. Phenomenal different options with the hair. I love how she looks with the kind of short hair as well. I think that's a really cool idea. The helmet's next level, and I love the fact they've homaged the Sunbow kind of design with the colors and everything on there. She's got her rifle. You know, there's so much to enjoy about this new, like the new figure, completely new build. Just loving it so much. Brilliant figure. The Baroness, intelligence pilot. You mean she's an intelligence and pilot? 18,000 orders, of course, still locked, but I do think we'll be unlocking the Baroness at some point in the near future. And here is the figure in all her glory, in the blue as well, which is really cool. And a lot of people have pointed out the fact that if you look closely, there could be an opportunity here to get a blue Baroness using the same figure entirely, because if you look at some of the details around the neck and around the kind of butterfly joints, I'm going to just yeah, anyway, you'll see that there's that kind of like padding almost that she has on her mass device look in the blue and the yellow. So it's very, very likely we could be seeing a pre-paint for a like a retro blue Baroness sort of vibe. And how good would that release be in the new sort of VHS kind of way that I kind of want to happen so bad? Like for all of the kind of cartoon reference sort of figures, decos, characters, you could do a line that focused on classified releases in that vein, in VHS boxes with little slip covers of the VHS tape that they appear in, and like the figure information on the back and every. You know, how good would that be? How good would that be? And obviously, a blue and yellow Baroness would work perfectly for the mass device wave of figures that they might release as classified figures. I do think there is life in in this line when we get sort of to that point where we've had everything. I think there are options they can do to extend to and to give us different things that are still exciting and still cool for a collection. And I think breaking up little sublines into, you know, like cartoon appearance figures, comic books imagine a comic book blister card with a figure on it for a comic specific character, like Quinn, for example, Dr. Venom, for example. There's a bunch that would work really well with these sorts of kind of like release kind of formats. So anyway, I think that'd be pretty dope. And I might just be me on that one. I don't know, but I'm definitely trying hard to put that out into the ether for people to pick up. And you never know. It's one of those things as well. Like I can imagine that all of these thoughts have gone through their mind. Or they're in a position where these things are pretty obvious when it comes to like they're in it looking, they're adjacent to like the Marvel Legends guys, right? Very close to those guys, and they're going to be creating stuff that they're seeing and going, nice, I like that, including X-Men 97 as like a release kind of thing, um, things like that, right? Didn't they do recently the Pink Sentinels as well? Like as is that computer game related? Either way, yes, please and thank you. Give me stuff that's in the cartoons and the comics, but in classified form that makes sense as releases. Put them in fancy packaging, or like within costing, fancy packaging. Like, I don't know. I just think something like that would be so awesome. They don't even have to be slip covers. I mean, slip covers would make sense because that's what VHS tapes. You can kind of see that, or the plastic cases that open up, but that would be ridiculous. But like you could do it like a window box that opens up, I guess, and have the VHS kind of surround and then the little window that you could see into the figure. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. Sentinel 2-pack from the arcade game. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, so anyway, they're going to be seeing stuff like that, and I think it'd be really, really cool. So I think there's life after we've got to the point where it's like, okay, we're re-releasing Duke, Outback, Flint and Lady J again because we have got it's new technology and better face paint and this, that, and the other. All the new things that happen when everything gets more and more improved. I think we're still a long ways off completing this line, honestly, and I think the line has got success in it for many more years. Personally, I think we've at least got 2025. We've at least got that locked in. I know they're working on 2026 and beyond. So, I just feel like this has still got legs, honestly. And I don't even, when I think about where it could be in that kind of lifespan, there are ways to extend that by doing lots of different cool intro and interior sort of like sublines and stuff like that. Anyway, also today, Lenny posted these turns and drawings of Wild Weasel, showing the head sculpt turns, the damaged helmet, and the figure fully kind of geared up, I guess. The two kind of like, I'm not sure if they are removable, if he's just got them separate on the image. I don't know. I don't think I've checked that yet, actually. But yeah, still very cool. And of course, like the input drawings of the figure front and back. So I do like it when Lenny does post this stuff. He put that on his actual Instagram, I believe, and there will be blurb, which is not the movie. There will be blurb. Weird movie that would be. I'm going to read it out because that's what I do on this thing. Yes, so he says, black and white input work for Wild Weasel, such a classic figure. A huge, huge, huge thank you to the fans for all your support in getting the Rattler off the ground. I like it. That's it pretty much. But again, very nice. We also got put in a Cobra clutch by the Sarge, which is beautiful. Love it. I'm gonna have I not liked that yet? Have I not liked that one yet? What's going on with me? I shared it, anyway, fake fan. Right then, guys. Anyway, love to see these, and I hope to see more of those. Now we're up to the leaked listings. We're towards the end now. There you go. We made it. Even though there wasn't, like I said, a great deal of stuff coming out of the day today that was kind of new, we have covered all the information about PulseCon and that kind of stuff. So I thought I would just run through these listings again very quickly. Look at all that. So it's just Starduster and Nemesis Immortal left for 2024 that we know of in the listings. Usually, obviously, there are more, what are they called? pre-orders towards the end of the year, of course, aren't there? Obviously, there'll be pre-orders at PulseCon, there'll be pre-orders at 1027, but they will go into 2025, and that's what we're looking at here. So I imagine at PulseCon we'll see Xandar, Saw Viper, Leatherneck, and Dial Tone as the kind of standard wave of 4 figures up for pre-order. And the fact that they've revealed name onlys, Heavy Duty and Law and Order, I imagine those two will be in there in a shout with that as well as the Claw. It just makes sense, doesn't it? And maybe even because it's going to be PulseCon, maybe even the Viper, Mindbender, and Rock and Roll, because why not at this rate? So that's what I expect from PulseCon 1027. Either all of that for PulseCon, like I said, the first standard retail wave of 4, the Heavy Duty, Law and Order, the Claw, and the 3 classified retro figures. I expect that. I wouldn't be surprised if that all drops for PulseCon. I would not be surprised. And then 1027 is something else entirely that hasn't been revealed necessarily on here yet. I don't know for a fact though, because we don't get like the differentiation. Again, I should look at the listings closely because they do have dates on them a lot of the time, and I usually be able to work that out from those. But these things change as well, and they move around. Anyway, Chris, many of those, do you know that you can't tell us? Many of those, do you know that you can't? I can't tell you the ones. Okay, so how many do we know on there? All but the last 4 figures for the retail wave on the left and the last 3 figures of the retro classified. But everything else that's on there, we know what's coming, and we are very excited. So, wow. Yes, Nemesis Enforcer, of course, Scott, is also possibly for that. So if you throw Nemesis Enforcer in there, maybe Heavy Duty gets bumped to 1027. Maybe Law and Order gets bumped to 1027. Maybe the Claw gets bumped to 1027. I don't know. Maybe there could be that aspect of it. 100%. 100%. And of course, with Nemesis Immortal, it's almost certain we're going to see them at PulseCon. Or you never know, they might drop Nemesis Immortal like in the lean period. Like how we had last year, we had like the Vamp just dropped in the middle of things, and it was like its own little thing in the middle of nowhere, just bloop, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Chris, I was surprised that Lenny talked about the Night Raven when he was interviewed by JC during Sdcc. I haven't seen that interview yet. I need to check that out from Toy News International from Jay. Yeah, I need to check that out. You mentioned the Night Raven. Oh, that's cool. That's wicked. Any bats we need to know about, Scott? No, not that I'm aware of. Should we just keep the Iron Grenadiers bats the only mistake I'll ever make in that department, please? Because that was hilariously bad, wasn't it? That was Battle Android. Duh, that was bad. Anyway, yeah, so very excited for all of this. Very excited. Do we know when Cup Sarge Once a Man will go up for order? We know when Cup and Sarge go up for pre-order. Cup and Sarge has been known for a while, and I'm just delaying tactics here because I have to find it first. I'm sure someone in the comments will tell us before I get there. But Cup, there we go. Yes, that will be going up 7th, as in the 30th at 1 p.m. Eastern on Hasbro Pulse. So that's 2 days' time. Not tomorrow, but Tuesday. So Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern is when the Sarge, Leatherneck, and the Triple T Cup goes up for Hyper Scout. And as for Once a Man Cobra Commander, we will be told officially soon, but there's a lot of people talking about the fact it could be the 5th because there's other exclusives that have gone up on that day. Tuesday, innit? Tuesday. We will continue to rib you for it, though. Yes, I'm sure you will, Scott. And by all means, go for it. Tuesday at 5. Bestow. You're in the UK, right? Yeah, I think you are, aren't you? Because it's Eastern for us. But yeah, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be 6 for you, I think, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it should be 6 p.m. for anyone in the UK. I think if it's 1 p.m. Eastern, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it should be 6 p.m. UK. Odds on Rattler Decepticon crossover. For the collaborative, that would be cool, wouldn't it? Actually, like Viper, or because it was Viper, wasn't it? And then Powerglide, obviously after the fact, but or vice versa. Was it Powerglide first and then Viper as the repaint? Either way, Viper was cool, and I think that would be a really cool one to do as yeah, as a well, obviously as what would it be? It would be Thundercracker, wouldn't it? With Rattler, because yeah, he's the bluest. So Thundercracker would be actually that'd be the first one you look at and go, yeah, I get it. That works. Chris, my 3D print of the Cobra Night Raven is on part 7. I'm working on part 8, which will be either starting on the printing of the drone or the bottom half of the Night Raven on my channel. Wow. I can't wait to see that finished. Renegade, that sounds amazing. Right then. Yeah, we did get it for the O-ring, well, 4-inch line, Jedi Ben. It was the 4-inch line, wasn't it, for Sdcc? It wasn't O-ring. It was modern 4-inch at the time. And yeah, it was really cool. But it was, again, it wasn't transforming. It was just the vehicle decoed out. And it was Cobra Commander with Megatron and all that stuff on it. And was it red? And it was Powerglide. Yeah, that's right, wasn't it? I'm thinking of two different things, aren't I? Because Powerglide, who did Cobra Commander come with in the crossover sets as a pilot? Am I having it? I'm having an absolute brain fart here. Anyway, by the by, I'll remember. I remember when it's like much later in the evening. So yes, that's what we know. Baroness, Phil. But who came? Who did Cobra Commander come with? Was it Starscream? Yes, it was. Starscream. Yes, it was. Starscream Cobra Commander. Thank you. Why is that so hard for me to remember? It's Starscream, for goodness sake. Why wouldn't it be him? But yeah, it was the Sky Striker repaint, wasn't it? Yeah. Yes, indeed. Scarlet came with Powerglide. That's right. I see what you're saying now. Anyway, let's move on. Look, I've updated the name only reveals to actually be accurate now. So what we have left, because I removed Leatherneck and Xandar, and there was other one on there, Stardust, had to be removed as well. Completely forgot to do that the other day. I was like updating them, putting all the new ones in, and forgot completely that some of them had to go. So yes, Footloose, Law and Order, Heavy Duty, Blowtorch, Rock and Roll, Retro, Frag Viper, and then Retro Mindbender and Retro Cobra Vipers are the remaining name only reveals, or some are in, some are out. Shake it all about. That means I've got to do Let's Talk Classified Footloose. I've nearly finished. It's so close. I just need to get that done. Tomorrow I'll be obviously interviewing Ryan Costello for Renegade Game Studios stuff, and the factions books they've done recently. So that's going to be really exciting to get into. Got lots of got some exclusive artwork to show on the channel as well, which is really cool. I'm very excited to do that. It's been a long time in coming, this chat with Ryan. It'll be live. It's very likely going to be 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. For those obviously that want to obviously check it out, and you're a little bit out of that time period, I'm sorry. You'll just have to watch it later in the stream. But we'll just be basically grilling Ryan about the whole situation, with Renegade Game Studios and the G.I. Joe stuff and the factions in action, RPGs and all that kind of good stuff. Getting to see some cool like I said, exclusive artwork. Talk to Ryan a little bit about his involvement in everything, and yeah, it should be really fun. I'm genuinely really excited to do that. Anyway, that is that for name only reveals. Was pretty spot on, actually. I think when it came to what we were going to see, I did say I expected that we would see pretty much everything that's been removed. I did say I expected to see Leatherneck and what's the other one? Xandar. Almost forgot. I did. Is this longest stream ever? No, this is nowhere near it. The longest stream, I did the longest stream ever. Like we did, like when Kate was away. Funnily enough, When Kate went to visit her family for a weekend, I did a stream that was about 4 hours long, I want to say. It was mental. Anyway, I won't be doing that tonight. I'm going to be calling it a day in a second. But yeah, so here we are. These are what's left. Like I said, I've got Let's Talk Classified Footloose to do. I then have to do one for Heavy Duty. I have to do one for Law and Order. I've done Blowtorch, I think. I have to do one for Rock and Roll. I've done Frag Viper, Mindbender. But the one that is making me very worried is the Vipers, because there's so many versions of that figure, so many of the Viper, of this particular Viper at least. And we'll go into your Viper kind of offices and all that kind of jazz as well, and different versions. But at the end of the day, woof. Anywhosen. Yes, J. Robert Bryans, who just messaged me. I did see the Panda Khan. Looks amazing. Scott says, thank you, mate, for the super chat. Very, very kind of you. Thank you for all the work you do. Even if you have to deal with crap once in a while, we appreciate you full force. Thank you, Scott. Very much appreciated. Thank you for the super chat, and for all the support from all of you guys. It's great. Yeah, I absolutely love it. We need wetsuit ASAP, says Yojo OC. We do. We absolutely do. Full course. When's that happening, Renegade? As soon as we can get more bandwidth to the point where we are literally churning stuff out every hour, we'll definitely incorporate GI Joe food related channel. That would be so fun, actually. It would just be a fun little side channel, wouldn't it? Or like just a side little show, just doing like GI Joe related food things. It'd be so much fun, even if it was just like pun related stuff, like Wild Weasel's Wicked Wings, right? Wicked Hot Wings, Wild Weasel's Wicked Hot Wings, something like that. Anyway, that is everything for Name Only Reveals. Digital renders. Now, some people were saying, what about the digital renders for Raptor and all those? Yes, there are other digital renders out there, but they don't go on this particular slide. This is for where the figures are currently in our lexicon. So figures that only exist in digital render form find themselves here. If they exist in name only form, they go on the other for like graphic, and if they exist beyond that, we report on them and we do entire episodes around them. So in this case, these are the digital renders that are left that we haven't seen yet. So Dial Tone, Leatherneck for the Joes, Saw Viper, Claw with the Trooper, and Xandar for Cobra. Okay, brilliant. Out of those three, what are you? Sorry, three? I can count. Out of those five, what are you most excited for? I'll tell you mine. They are all on the level, genuinely. They are all on a level for me as figures that I am really wanting in this line really bad, but they all pretty much line up exactly in the same place. Like, there's not one of these I want over the other one, if that makes sense. Really excited for Dial Tone and have been for ages. I've wanted Leatherneck in the line for the longest time. I've wanted the Saw Viper in the line for the longest time. The Claw has been a necessity, I think, in terms of the smaller vehicles. And Xandar, again, who is he? No, he's up there with those three. Because for anything, just completing, not even completing, that's technically not true. At least completing the siblings of Xandar, Savannah, and Zartan. But of course, the family wouldn't be complete without Zanya and Zigglesworth, the little dog as well, which I just made up. But Ziggles, they call him. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right, but yeah, Dial Tone. If I had to pick one, no, can't do it. They're all on a level for me, genuinely on a level. All five of these I'm excited for and can't wait for. If they were in different like groups, yeah, these were the ones that probably stick out to me a little bit, unless it was like Snake Eyes version 4. Now there's a character I want to see done. There's a version of Snake Eyes I want to see done. What are the other ones? Lightfoot. If Lightfoot ever got done, forget about it. I quit. Even though I've got a beautiful custom, I'm pointing at him right there, from Ray Murphy. I would still cry if they did Lightfoot. It would be so good. Anyway, right, that's it for me. I will see you guys on the flip side. Now, like tomorrow, actually. Stay fresh cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Laters.
That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.